the this is an interesting topic, and of course we could go on this for a long time. And I think most of you know the reality of this, or have experienced this, learning to work with things as they are. And obviously, if we don't learn to work with things as they are, we're going to find ourselves in a world of suffering. It's a state of denial to not do that. It's as if saying, "Oh, it's raining today," if it was raining, and to say, "Oh, it's not raining. It's not raining because I didn't want it to rain, but it is raining." So what do? We have to get our umbrella and put on our rain gear, and then we go about our business. But to deny that which is obviously going to lead to problems. And Swami Kriyananda, he was very explicit about this. He said that most suffering is the result of wishing for things to be other than they are. And it's in that wishing for, oh, why does it have to be this way? Why couldn't it be other? If only XYZ would be the case, then I would be happy. And so what we're doing is to wish for things to be other than they are. In a sense, you could say we're condemning ourselves to be unhappy, discontent. And to live life in a state of discontent you might say, is trying to live in a fantasy world. And we're perpetually, you could say, conditioning ourselves. And Swamiji, of course, he had this saying that he would repeat oftentimes. He said, take the attitude that in life which comes of itself, let it come. And then, I mean, don't roll over passively and not do anything about it. He says, let it come. If it's going to rain, let it rain. Then do what's needed rather than to pretend it's not there or to push it away. He says, do what's needed, do the appropriate things, but be relaxed in what life offers you. Don't push it away, let it to come. And otherwise, we'll find ourselves, if we're pushing it away, we're living in a world in which we're enmeshed in our emotional ups and downs because we cannot control what's going on outside of ourselves and the world at large, how other people behave, but we can't control ourselves. And if we can't control what's outside ourselves and we find ourselves in the reactive mode of reacting to ups and downs in life, we're going to just ride that roller coaster. And inevitably, what this does, not only do we suffer from that, which obviously is not a healthy thing in spiritually in a sense, but it destroys when we're in that sort of a state, our inner peace of mind is lost. And ultimately, of course, our physical being is degraded by that. And inevitably, what it does for us is we reinforce our likes and dislikes, our emotional reactions, or as Paramhansa would say, our whims and fancies. And we don't want to be that way. And I think all of us uh, know this as devotees. It's one of the very essences of being a devotee on the spiritual path is to learn to be able to deal with life as it is. But I want to be very clear about this. It is not passive. It's not just a state of, well, I'm going to let things come, face things as they are, and I'm just going to be passive about it. It's actually, it takes a great deal of energy to be that way. But uh, but I want to be clear also, it's not so much, if we look at it, it's not so much the wishing for things to be different than they are that really is the culprit, because this is sometimes misunderstood because we see the world around us and we want to improve it. We want to make a better world. So hope for a better world. Swami would often say that's a positive hope. And you could say, wishing for a better world, is that so bad? No, that's not what's being said here. The problem it's not so much in the wishing, because that can be neutral. The problem is in our reaction when things don't turn out as we had hoped. It didn't happen. And I think we need to look within ourselves. If things didn't happen the way we wanted or anticipated or or looking forward to, can we still be happy? You see, this is the measuring stick. To be happy, joyful, enthusiastic in any circumstance. And if we can't, we have to, as devotees, as disciples, ask ourselves why. Why? It's the attachment, of course. It's that attachment to our hopes and dreams. It's attachment to those whims and fancies, attachment to those wishes. And so you could say our attachment to our likes and dislikes. And of course, that attachment breeds pain and suffering and that discontent. But what we want to do, what I'd want to do here is, I think we, as I said, I think we know this, but what do we do about it? How can we be more accepting to life as it is? How can we be accepting, and not in a passive way, but in a dynamic way, a recognition of what is? And uh, I think it's important to understand what acceptance is. Acceptance is, and this is how Swami Kriyananda, I'll paraphrase his words here. He said, acceptance is deeper than simply recognizing the outward facts of the matter. Because when we look at the world and we say, well, I'm being very objective, I see it objectively as the facts, this is the situation. How objective can we be? All of us, all of us are biased to the degree that we're enmeshed in our ego. We see the world through a filter of our egoic desires. And we're not necessarily seeing life as it is, so long as we're seeing life through our ego. And we can't, the so-called reality is often, it's just in the eye of the beholder. We see the world through the filter of our ego. And how can we not but do that if we're not yet free? And so what we need to do is recognize acceptance is learning to recognize that our true reality lies within ourselves in God realization, and that everything else seen from that perspective, you could say, is even a dream. It's not the true reality. It's that God perception in God realization that we get our true perception of what reality is. And Swamiji said an interesting thing about this. He said, by accepting, or you could say by realizing, it really comes down to, by realizing and accepting this one inner reality that we're children of God, that we're in God's lap, everything else in life, the ups and downs, becomes acceptable. We can be completely contented in anything that happens to the degree that we realize we're God's child and we're living in that consciousness. And so, and instead of trying to tackle all the problems that we have, oh, I wish this didn't happen, that didn't happen, our effort really should be, make that effort to accept God unconditionally in our heart. And if we can do that, if we can accept, if we can do that, everything in life becomes acceptable. And we can begin to see, our consciousness begins to see that everything in life is coming from His hands. And we live for God alone. And if we can do that, we can trust that. And He will trust that God will give us that which is best for us. In a sense, isn't it somewhat a matter of a lack of faith to wish for things to be other than they are? Everything has come from God. For the devotee, for the saint, he says everything is from God's hands. And if we don't like it, we don't want it, in a sense, we're lacking faith that God knows what's best for us. So this is a big, big task, but this is the way of the saints. Put our energy into putting ourselves in God's hand, but not passively, not grudgingly, and you could say gratefully. And so you could say that acceptance of what is acknowledging, is trying to teach us something. And if we accept life circumstances, you might say, as our schooling, our lessons, we learn from them. And then rather than questioning why something has happened in a negative way, why did this happen? happen? Why did that happen? I wish it didn't happen. Ask God that, what are you trying to teach me, Lord, through this experience? Everything coming, I don't understand. Why? And if we ask, yeah, we take an approach in that way, because yes, we're still ego embodied, so we have our likes and dislikes, and we don't understand. But this is a positive, constructive way. Instead of wishing other things, why is it, if it's raining, why is it raining today? What can, and then taking it to the next step, what can I do about it? How can I improve myself so that I can deal with whatever it is that's coming my way? That which is mine will surely come to me, and that which is not mine will not. So if something is coming to me, it's mine. You could say it's my karma. You could put it that way. It's my gift from God, whatever it is whatever challenge that I'm facing in life. And it's a good exercise, and I recommend this, is practice accepting any possible scenario. You sort of, something is happening, and maybe you're worried a little bit about something. Oh, no, I hope that doesn't happen. Practice accepting. What if that happens? Can you accept it? Yes, I can accept that. It comes from God. See everything that's coming. It's coming from God for your particular lesson in this life. And if you can approach life that way, you find that if things seem to go pleasantly, it's sunny day today. Oh, that's great. If it's raining, okay, I can deal with that. But it's not passive. It's not laying. It's being doing the appropriate thing and approaching it with a hopeful heart. You see, to be wishing things to be other than they are. Some people say, well, I shouldn't hope for anything to be better than it is today. That's not true. We can hope. It's the reaction, you see, not the act, not the wish, not the hope. It's the reaction when our hopes are not fulfilled, our wishes are not fulfilled. Maybe something is better coming around the corner if we just wait for it in the right spirit. And I think I refer to Nayaswami Jyotish, who many of you know and have met. He offered a very, on this very subject, he offered a nice affirmation. And I'd like us to say that affirmation together. And what I'd like us to do right now, I'd like you just to close your eyes and feel yourself in your heart. Your eyes are uplifted, but feel yourself centered in your heart. And repeat this affirmation. I'm going to say it a couple of times. Dear Lord, I am grateful for my life exactly as it is. I am thankful for this day. I welcome every hour. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. One more time. I am grateful for my life exactly as it is. I am thankful for this day. I welcome every hour. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. And now in conclusion, notice how this stimulates a sense of thank you, God, stimulates in the heart a positive feeling of gratitude. And gratitude is an acceptance of life. Be grateful for life rather than a feeling of rejection of life that comes when we wish for life to be something other than it is. And the essence of the spiritual life is to be able to accept all that comes in a joyful spirit, in a spirit that life has been given to us by God. All of these experiences have been given to us by God for our enjoyment and for our entertainment, as Master would say. And if a gift is being given to us as life is, it's a wonderful divine gift, don't reject it. Don't turn it away. And this marks the difference between the saint, and you could say the ego-bound soul who rejects life. So with those thoughts, let us go forward now into uh, our healing prayers. And before we do that, I'd like us to take this thought, the sense of gratitude, once more, and let us send a sense of gratitude and blessings out into the world. So one more time, let's say this affirmation together, and then we'll send Om out into the world. So again, once more, close your eyes, feel in your heart, mentally say, I am grateful for my life exactly as it is. I am thankful for this day. I welcome every hour. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. And now let us rub our hands together and send blessings out into the world. Oh.